The reason why science fair is really important is because everyone is doing like projects, and those projects in the long run will help improve society as a whole, just like my project with boarding airplanes, or you could be in the medical field trying to make advances such as things like curing cancer, dementia, Alzheimer's, etc. Your contribution to science fair can really help solve all of the community's problems as a whole.
Science communication is a huge part of my job, and many of the skills I obtained in learning how to communicate with audiences, young and old, came from my time in the Marion County STEM Fair.
Last year was my first year ever doing science fair, and I went to the international level simply because I was passionate. I loved the things that I was doing. I had opportunities to network and mentor, and now one of my proudest achievements is to go back and return that to anyone who wants to go.
The skills that I learned in science fair, I use them to this day. And I think that the thirst to continue to solve, world problems and just being able to kind of help push, economic growth or infrastructure growth is still very much alive in me. And I think that's also why I'm such a big believer in science fair, because regardless of what that student thinks they're going to do, whether that's 9th grade, 10th grade, whatever, they're getting those skills that will propel them forward in medicine, in law, in finance, wherever it may be.
Thanks to science fair, I am now more motivated and encouraged to pursue a career in research in the future. I actually would like to become a pathologist and a research scientist. And there are just a lot of problems out there that need to be solved. And I know we all have such potential and open-mindedness to solve those problems. So if we work together in the fields of science, then we can definitely make the solutions of tomorrow.
The Big Springs Regional STEM Fair is a STEM competition. STEM is science, technology, engineering, and math. And this competition is open to approximately 30,000 middle and high school students from Marion and Sumter counties every year. And at this fair, students will present their original scientific projects in either teams of up to 3 students or individually. These projects are judged by local community members, scientists, and educators, where the students will have the opportunity to win prizes and advancement to the state fair and even the international fair.
I wanted to solve a problem that affected 220 million people: allergies. Now, allergies are caused by histamine overload, which actually also affects cancer growth. So for example, say you had allergies and you were prone to inflammation. We could extract a sample of your blood, and it turns out there is this molecule called apolipoprotein D that has a significant binding potential to the histamine, and therefore it can inhibit it. So when we extract the blood, we can extract the apolipoprotein D through plasmapheresis, and then in the event of a localized area of inflammation, we can inject that apolipoprotein D back into the area, and that would decrease the inflammation.
Careers in the STEM fields are growing faster than ever. And in Marion and Sumter County, we're not immune from that growth. And many of these jobs are going unfilled because of a lack of qualified applicants. By promoting students' competition in STEM fields and STEM competitions, we are preparing tomorrow's workforce to come back to our community and fill those STEM careers.
I competed in STEM Fair for 5 years, from 6th grade through sophomore year of high school. My projects ranged from water quality to phytoremediation, all within the environmental science field. I loved my time in STEM Fair so much, and I gained so much confidence from learning that I could actively participate in the scientific method and show my results to the world.
We serve mainly a rural community, with the majority of our students coming from Title I schools, which means they see a lot of underserved populations. In spite of that, we're competitive. Last year at the 2023 State Science Fair, 25 of our 36 projects received place awards, which was fantastic.
So a lot of the pathogens and bacteria that we have today are a result of antibiotic resistance. And so one of the ways to adapt is to look back at how we defend ourselves against pathogens. And so on our skin, we have a mixture of good bacteria called the microbiome, right? And so those bacteria are producing proteins and acids and different compounds and polypeptides that actually inhibit the growth of pathogenic bacteria. And so by applying of lactobacillus strains, which are the strains that are in yogurt and produce a lot of these compounds, we can apply them to surfaces and produce an artificial microbiome. And that can provide a much more sustainable form of hygiene.
In the traditional classroom, students rarely have the opportunity to take a scientific question, design an experiment or an engineering project to help answer that question or problem and see that to completion. There just isn't the time in the traditional classroom setting. So by participating in the STEM fair, students are actually able to immerse themselves into the complete scientific process.
It's pretty well known that boarding planes are ridiculously slow. It feels so slow to get on the plane and you just want to go to your seat. And so I'm trying to find a way to fix that. And so in order to do this, I simulated about like 40,000 runs of different versions of boarding a plane to figure out which one was the most efficient. The method that I found was most viable for airlines to use was the window middle aisle method, where the window seat goes first, then the middle, then the aisle, which can reduce it up to like 10%, which is actually really important, not only for the passengers, but also for the airlines, because they have to keep their airplanes on the terminal, and that costs a lot of money if you stay there too long, if the boarding process takes too long.
Support for the STEM fair is ideal for companies of any size. We have small family-run companies that want to support students in STEM education, and they may offer a special award, or they may volunteer some time to serve as a judge or on a committee such as our display and safety committee. We also have support from medium and large organizations who can afford to provide bigger financial incentives for our students to compete.
So the project that I did, it was essentially integrating robotics into the home. It was targeted towards helping disabled people be able to do minor tasks. I had designed like a mini like station where you could take the cordless phone that many elders already pay for, and if you yelled loud enough, it had a lever that would go over and it would dial 911, so that many people who are elders are on a fixed income and whatnot, and maybe they can't afford the monthly premiums of a life alert, for example. This gave them a little bit more comfort when they're home alone, being that if they were to slip and fall, they would be able to call for help and not have to wait for someone to finally come back home.
So if you want to get involved, it's pretty simple. You just need to reach out through email or find us on Facebook and send us a message, and we will find the place for you, whether that's as a volunteer at one of our events, or maybe you want to sponsor a special award, or you're looking for something new. Maybe you want a mentorship opportunity for one of our students at our local schools. Thank you for your interest in Big Spring STEM. We have some amazing opportunities to inspire and promote inquiry and innovation from our students in Marion and Sumter counties, and we couldn't do it without the community support and volunteers in our area. Thank you.